Everyone is becoming more aware of staking and how you can earn yield by locking up your tokens. But Tyrone Pan of Bifrost joined us today to explain how you can make those locked up tokens work even harder by rewarding you with liquidity tokens that can be used on various dapps and DeFi protocols. Hi there, and welcome to the Parachain Auctions podcast hosted by Kraken. I'm Brian Hoffman, crypto platform product lead, and I'm glad you could join me out here on the cutting edge of crypto technologies. On this show, you'll hear from leaders and innovators around the world building parachains on Polkadot and Kusama. Tune in for insights from the best and brightest about their new projects. Whether this is the first you've heard of parachains or you're a DeFi aficionado, come with us behind the scenes as we explore the technology of tomorrow today. Today we have with us Tyrone Pan, product manager at Bifrost. Welcome to the show, Tyrone. We're really excited to have you on.
Hello, world. Hello. My name is Tyrone from Bifrost Finance, and I'm very glad to be here to see you, Brian, and Kraken team.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we had some trouble trying to get together, but it's great to finally have you on board for the show. So I guess to just kick it off and get right into it, I mean, why don't you go ahead and maybe give us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the Bifrost project? We'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, sure. Actually, Bifrost is Polkadot ecological DeFi basic protocol that is committed to becoming an infrastructure for staked assets to provide liquidity. And Bifrost launched derivative V token for staking and VS token for Polkadot and Kusama Parachain slot, which is crowd loan. And it has obtained about $2 million in fundraising from NGC, SNZ, TFG, CMS, and etc., and other institutions and Web3 Foundation grant. And it's also a member of Sub3 Beauty Program and Web3 Bootcamp. So, our product, VToken, that can be optimized transactions in multiple scenarios such as DeFi, DApp, and DEX, or centralized exchanges, and realize the transfer channel of stake rights such as staking and crowd loan through VToken, realize the stake hedge of the stake assets, and expand the scenarios such as VToken as collateral for lending or staking reward part of the interest can be offset to achieve the low interest loans.
That's quite a mouthful. I think for a lot of people, in the crypto space, they're either dipping their toes in or, they're just starting out and trying to understand a lot of these concepts. Staking and DeFi can be really complicated. I mean, I think a project such as yours obviously is trying to tackle some of the more like really important aspects of that. But I mean, maybe like help us break it down a little bit further to the actual beginnings of this project. Like where's the team based out of? How did you guys meet? How did you guys decide that this was the problem you were going to go ahead and try and solve?
Yeah, that's a good question for the show of the beginning for the beginning now. I think that the reason why we established the Bifrost because that we actually found that in the DeFi environment or in the DeFi market, and we found there was $100 million in there, but about 80% and 90% assets are being staked by the DeFi protocol. So that's the big problem that you can release the liquidity from that staked assets. And so we did actually a Libby uh, project before the Bifrost, and actually we made it a big progress, and we accumulated much of experience about the staking liquidity, and now actually we found that the trend of the blockchain is actually involved from the single chain and to multi chain. So we decide to develop the Bifrost, and this DeFi protocol by the substrate, and we actually based on the Polkadot ecosystem, and to become a Parachain to achieve the interoperation between different Parachains, and to do the staking derivative from different post chains, so that can be achieved that bringing more and more staked assets or pledged assets from different blockchains. So that's the actually our mission and our vision to do this project, and to actually to promote the evolution of the DeFi.
So just to kind of clarify for the audience who may not quite understand all of the problem here, all of its nuance. When you have 80% or 90% of the tokens for a certain blockchain all locked up in staking, why is that particularly a problem? Is it because that the customers have their assets not available to do other things with it? I guess maybe explain the challenge around like why is it beneficial for our customers to be thinking about getting additional liquidity? Why not just sit there and get their staking rewards? Why is this important?
Yeah, yeah, because in post chains, that the consistent mechanism decide that actually based to staked UI assets, and more stakes, and the network be more security. And the another problem is that in the post chain, if you do staking and you cannot do DeFi, that's the true now by now. If you stake your assets, and you can get the staking return, but the problem is that you cannot use the DeFi protocol, or DeFi applications to earn the extra, or the earn the extra interest from the DeFi applications. So that's actually the conflict between the DeFi and staking. And what we want to solve is that the this uh, is this problem. So if you want to do staking, of course you can do that, but we will actually give away a derivative for you. That derivative likes uh, future of your staking, and you can get that derivative to do DeFi. The derivative is also a token that can be tradable, and you can do DeFi application and to do the liquidity mining and whatever you want to do that to get the actual return. Yeah.
So if you stake, uh, then you will get V token in reward, and they can use that on. They can be send that to a liquidity provider, and earn more yield there, or they can use dapps or other DeFi applications. Like, are those applications built on top of Bifrost's ecosystem, or are those just generalized dapps? Like, what kind of dapps can people use those V tokens for?
Yeah, that's why we chose the Polkadot to develop or project, because you can use that derivative in different blockchains, in different power chains actually. Maybe in Akala you can do the one step DeFi environment, and you can do the loans and leveraging or other different features applications. So if you in the maybe Solana or other blockchains of post chains, if that blockchain can be deployed the smart contract, and we can also provide the derivative on that chain, and you can do the DeFi on the Solana, and bring it back and bring you original assets back to the Polkadot. So that's based on actually uh, the connection and the interoperation between these blockchains.
So you guys will be building bridges between, say, Solana and Polkadot, or is that going to be something the community will have to drive? Or
No, that's not our concern. The bridges
uh
will be built by other blockchains, right? And
hmm
the actually Polkadot will have their own bridges to do the uh, bridges to it has done the bridges to Bitcoin, and it will be uh, available for the Ethereum. And the next step will be more power chains, more bridge to different post chains.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, we've spoken to several projects so far on the podcast, and I think obviously the common theme here is the ability to be interoperable with other chains, which I think is a lot different than some of these other layer one blockchains that are coming out. They're not necessarily prioritizing interoperability, but that's really cool. I think being able to use your tokens wherever you are makes it so much more useful, so much more valuable to people. So how does so you said the V token will be handed out for people who stake. Now let's talk a little bit about the Parachain lease auctions.
Okay.
So the tokens that the Kusama or the Polkadot, and you guys are doing both a Kusama Parachain lease auction and a Polkadot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
Yeah. So when people bond their tokens to those auctions to help the crowd loans out, are they going to be getting V tokens as well? Like how what does the incentive structure look like for participating in that?
Yeah, actually, like what I said, V token and the slot auction token is two different derivative. V
Okay.
token is especially for the staking, right?
Okay.
The pure exchange staking, and you can get return. That's a derivative with return. But for the slot auction, that's the Polkadot crowd loan and Kusama crowd loan. So the rules of that crowd loan is that you need to bond your assets, you need to bond your Kusama to a power chain, and if the power chain wins the bid, actually the power chain they borrows you Kusama and they go to bid for a power chain. If they wins the bid and you Kusama will be locked for 1 year or 2 years. So what we do is to also provide you a derivative, which his name is VS token, virtual slot token. So that can be also used for the liquidity releasing during the period of the power chain leasing. Uh, it's about 1 year and 2 years time. So during this time, you can treat your derivative, and you can take you cash cash flow back. Uh, that's the logical.
So what is the difference between the V token and the VS token? Like, can I do different things with them, or are they just a different separate derivative asset, just for functionality purpose? Uh, is that a technical thing, or is there actually difference between the two tokens and their utility?
Yeah, they are actually different because the V token is actually with returns. Actually, the V token price will be uh, pricing up by the time because the underlying assets is your staking assets and your staking assets with returns. So the V token price will be uh, increased by the returns of your underlying assets. So that's V token and VS token without any returns. That's represent your bounding assets, but V token is corresponding with another derivative, which is VS bound. VS bound represents the power chain reward. If you actually bound your assets, bound your Kusama to a power chain, and the power chain will give you some reward of their native token, right? So the VS bound represents the native token of the power chain. So the procedure is that you bound your Kusama for power chain, and you can get two derivatives. One is V token, and the other one is VS bound. And VS token is for only the tradable derivative. It's only for utility feature of the token, and the VS bound is for the equity feature, which represents the Parachain auction reward for you. So if you uh, yeah, if you bound your assets to a Parachain, you can get these two derivatives, and during the lease period, you can sell both of them, or you can keep one. You can keep VS token, and you sell VS bound, or you keep VS bound and you sell VS token. But the result is that at the end of the lease period of a Parachain, you must to uh, uh, you must to redeem your Kusama in the original price of you bounding with the two derivatives corresponding, which means you need to you can redeem your underlying Kusama with VS token and VS bound. So that's how it works.
So, so who would you consider to be doing something similar in the space? I mean, are there other products that are trying to tackle something similar? I mean, like what makes what you guys have planned different from what others may be trying to do?
Yeah. Uh, Actually, the yeah, we name it the slot auction liquidity protocol. Yeah, for the auction, and we name it SALP. Uh, so that's quite interesting name, right? The SALP, and as you can imagine that this liquidity during the between the different partitions. So that's also a name easy to be remembered, right? So the SOAP actually is the biggest advantage of Bifrost to be in the Kusama stock auction, and there is no other power chains provide this liquidity service for users. So we actually doing this through the Polkadot palette, and to do this in absolutely decentralized way in the Parachain in the Kusama relay chain between the Bifrost Parachain. So uh, all Kusama crowd loaned from users will be saved in Kusama relay chain and given back to users when the Parachain lease expired. And we actually designed this protocol as the or original thinking is that it can release users liquidity, and we haven't seen any other power chains they doing this way. They doing same the service as us we do. Uh, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big advantage of what we're doing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So just for to reiterate, when the lease period is over, you mentioned one of the really like important parts, which is that if you have Kusama or you have Polkadot bonded to a lease, and then that lease ends, you get those coins back. What happens to your V tokens, your V tokens, or the sorry VS tokens, or the VS bond? Like, what happens to those after the lease ends? Like, let's say you guys don't renew the lease. What exactly happens from there? Do the people still have their tokens? Can they still use them?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good question. The utility of the VS token is that you can sell and buy it at any time. If the power chain lease retired, expired, and you can also keep that VS token to trade. That's a derivative market. It's totally a derivative market with deep liquidity, because that we so the reason why we separate two derivative is that we want to accumulate the liquidity of the derivative market. Yeah, because the different power chains they have different reward mechanism, and it will cause the separate liquidity of different derivatives. So we separate the features of them. One represents the utility, and the other one represents the reward. So they will not be reflected by each other. and you can keep the VS token at any time. You can trade it, you can buy it. That's the totally derivative market. And VS bound is a little bit different. If the power chain expired, which means the VS bound will be expired too, and you will
Mm-hmm.
have about uh, 1 month to actually use that VS bound to redeem your underlying assets, and that's the only 1 month you have chance to redeem your underlying assets. And after the one month, the VS bound will be expired, and that's the token will be uh, in that's in your wallet, but you cannot use it after the 1 month. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how to use VS bound. And the interesting thing is that during the lease period, the VS bound also will create derivative market, but it's like an NFT market because VS bound is actually a semi uh, you know, fungible token, semi
Mm-hmm.
fungible token for the market because the different power chain they have different VS bound, but for the same power chain they have same VS bound. So that's a semi fungible token.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit, and let's start talking about the actual team. So I'm over here. I'm on my side talking to you from the Washington D.C. area in the U.S. I believe you guys are based out of Asia,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
oh yeah, and I'm curious to know a little bit more about like what is it like over there in terms of like parachain excitement, Polkadot, the interest levels? Like, is it like one of the hotter blockchains there? How are they viewing the whole parachain auctions process?
Yeah. We actually Bifrost we're actually based in Shanghai, and we have all uh, other team members in France and Germany and Australia and Canada.
Yeah.
So actually, in Shanghai, we have about uh, 13 team members here, and the other 5 to 6 members in all over the world. So, what's the second question? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I really love Shanghai too. I was there for DevCon back when it was there.
Hi.
It was really nice. Yeah, no, the question was just, I think we've heard a lot about there being like an intense interest in Asia around Polkadot and
Hi.
how it's very popular there. And I was just curious if you had any kind of thoughts on that.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, before the Polkadot or layer two wave, that's the layer one Ethereum. So in about 2020, the Ethereum DeFi is like a explosive market in China, and actually the old companies or the old blockchain teams they all do the smart contract, and but now they same as Bifrost, we also both find the shortcut of the multi chain development from the single chain. So so what we do is to choose substrate to develop, and
Hmm.
what we saw the Polkadot is that Polkadot actually provide um, actually more imaging environment for a team. We don't have to concern about to maintain a mechanism by ourselves, because if you want to do a post chain by yourself, that's will
Yeah.
cost about maybe you at least need to have 40 or 50 members, and you will have to maintain the consensus in the beginning for a long time, maybe half year, 1 year, and you can deploy your business and you can deploy your applications. That will be take much long time. But if we use that smart contract, there will be also another problem is that what we want to do is to do the staking derivative, right? But if we do smart contract, there will be problems that the assets locked in Bifrost smart contract that will not exist the two of three the uh, a whole value of the Ethereum, which means that smart contract cannot load as much value of the derivative market as the uh, a blockchain, as the single chain, because it
Yeah.
will actually hurt the Ethereum security. So that's a big problem. So that's also why we chose Polkadot to develop our business.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think people underestimate how much effort and what a challenge it is to actually build your own blockchain from ground up. I mean, I won't name names, but there are certainly some other projects out there that have tried to do this and they haven't been super smooth. Has not been like a
Yeah,
very like, and they're spending a lot of development time, a lot of engineering time trying to
yeah,
solve problems that Substrate kind of just already handles. You don't even have to worry about that. So it
right.
makes a lot of sense for teams that really want to just focus on the problem that their parachain is trying to solve.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah,
definitely.
and I think you're right about the smart contracts. I mean, it's yeah, it's like it has to evolve. It has to get more complicated, complex, and allow developers to do more. And I think we're pushing the boundaries of what we can do with like some of those smart contract platforms for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
no,
So let's talk directly about the auction that's going on. Like right now, as we're talking, we're midway through the first auction. It looks like Akala is going to run away with it at the moment. They're pretty far ahead. I don't even know. Has anybody else bid on the auction yet? Um, but that will end in a few days, and there'll be more auctions coming forward. So, like, how are you guys like let's talk about what's the team talking about right now. Are you guys excited about this? Are you nervous? Like what's going on in the Bifrost headquarters? Like what are you guys thinking?
yeah. We are so excited about this moment. We've been waiting about. Bifrost was established in 2019, so we've already waiting about 1.5 years. So now as actually is a historical moment for us, and
Yeah.
we've have ready for a long time to accumulate the advantage in this auction. So you can see you can see the actually, yeah, Akala, the Karura, right? Karura is on the
Yeah.
number one, and actually Bifrost is on the number four now. It's on the number four now. You can see
That's
that.
pretty good, man.
So actually, yeah, we have actually fully confident to get the first five power chains, maybe in the
Hmm.
fourth or fifth or fifth. Uh, Actually, based on the advantage, we have actually about four advantages to beat this auction. The first one is that the most different between Bifrost and other Canary network. Canary network means the Kusama project. They actually they release a priority network for the Kusama bidding. So that's the Canary network.
Hmm.
It's like a canary network. That the Kusama is the priority network of Polkadot, right? So what Bifrost do is we don't actually use a canary network for the Kusama, because we thought if you release a canary network, you need to maintain the community and all the application in that canary network. You cannot just close it down during the Polkadot power chain, right? So if you get the power chain of Polkadot, you will run two blockchains. One is that Canary network. The other one is
Hmm.
that Polkadot network. So that will also cost a lot of energy from you. So what Bifrost do is we decided to just only use one network. It's what mainnet Bifrost to be for the at the beginning is the Kusama power chain, and we will transfer to the Polkadot Parachain after maybe, yeah, the Polkadot official, they announced about 3 or 4 months if the uh, Kusama Parachain runs smoothly, and they will release the Polkadot Parachain baiting. So we will definitely will be the Parachain in the Polkadot. So we will actually transfer the network from Kusama to Polkadot. Use the Genesis block from Kusama to Polkadot.
So let me understand this a little bit better just before you go on. So if I participate in the crowd loan for Bifrost on Kusama, and you guys win the slot, then those tokens will be created and everything will be running, and then Polkadot will start their auction process.
Yeah,
And at some point, when you win a Polkadot slot, you're saying that you guys will actually transfer. You will replay the Genesis block from Kusama onto the Polkadot
yeah,
chain.
yeah.
And then what happens to the Kusama chain and all of the tokens that are going on there? How will
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah, after the Genesis block transfer to the Polkadot, so all data will be also transferred to Polkadot, right? So the Kusama will be closed after we are running the uh, uh, parachain on the Polkadot. So the Kusama will be
Okay.
closed. Yeah, and that's the actually plan A. If we also have actually the plan B if the Polkadot haven't developed the transformation of the data from between Kusama and the Polkadot. So we will
Hmm.
actually running two networks both on Polkadot and Kusama until the bridge of Kusama to Polkadot has been opened, and we will
Okay.
also, yeah, transfer to the and the Kusama power chain and the Kusama network maybe will uh, using the power thread to running. So that's the plan B.
Okay. So this relies on them getting that interoperability between Kusama and
Right.
Polkadot working properly. Okay. Great. So maybe you can just give me a little bit of an overview of like if I participate in the Kusama crowd loan that's going on right now that you guys are trying to win, the next few slots. Um, what do people who contribute, what are they going to get in return? How is that broken down? Maybe you can just like talk a little bit about like currently what do they receive for contributing?
Yeah. As I mentioned, we used only one network for the auction. So, what users can get for return is that they can get the midnight token in the Bifrost auction. It's not Canary network token, and we only use the same uh, uh, economy of token economy for the bidding. So that is 3% of Kusama is totally 3 million BNC for the incentive for this auction. So
And
what
what
you
what sorry, what platform would that be on? Where do you receive the BNC?
all right? You can receive the BNC on Bifrost Parachain. If actually you can bound one Kusama and then get uh, 11 plus BNC on the
Okay.
Bifrost Parachain. And
Okay,
if
so one will get you 10, you said. Okay.
11,
Or
yeah,
11, sorry.
11, yeah.
11.
and
Okay.
and, and plus also plus the invitation mechanism. If you invite your friends, you can get 5% more of your BNC reward. So that's the bonus from the invitation.
And how can they do that? Where can they find that at?
Yeah, you can invite your friends, and for example, if I invite my friends, they contribute and get totally 100 BNC, and I can get five BNC from them. Actually, not from them. That's the bonus from them. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the
So
5%
so you
bonus.
guys are currently in like around fourth place in the auctions bidding by amount. What have you found to be the most successful way to get people to participate in this? I mean, we've talked a little bit about bonuses for like referring your friends. I mean, how important do you feel that some of those kinds of mechanisms are for getting people to contribute to the crowd loan? How do you stimulate that participation in the auction?
Actually, we that's the I think the one is the token is Midnight token or the Canary Network token, and the second one is uh, actually the worth of your project. Is that uh, maybe you have a Web3 Foundation grant and you are a Web3 Bootcamp member and you are a good project, which means. And the third one is that the allocation of your token. Uh, uh, Bifrost allocation of the auction token is we will release 50% of BNC after we successfully get the Parachain, and the other half, 50% will be released in 48 weeks, which is about 1 year during the lease period. So uh, yeah, that's how we think to attract uh, funding from participants.
Yeah, I think getting access to the token as soon as possible is like really
Yeah,
important, especially if you're trying to build up, usage of it. Like if it's a token, it's actually intended to be like driving activity on your dapps and your platform. It makes sense to get those into the hands of your users as soon as possible, for sure.
yeah, for sure.
So having said that, I mean, I think what maybe you could talk a little bit about the strategy for actually doing the parachain auction bidding. I mean, I think we saw everybody kind of like started their crowd loan pretty quickly. I think you guys were like a little bit, you weren't like on the first day, right? Like you kind of waited a little bit and then did it. And you're also seems like you're waiting maybe to like bid on the auction. What's the strategy here? Like, are you just waiting to, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just maybe you could just explain your strategy a little bit.
Yeah. Bifrost strategy is we get the power chain as soon as possible because what we network do is to provide the liquidity. So as soon we get the power chain, so we can provide the SLP, the SOP uh,
Hmm.
service for users. Actually, SLP will be used for other power chain bidding, which means if Bifrost get the power chain and we can provide the uh, this liquidity protocol for other power chain for other project when they are bidding a power chain, when they doing the auction, when they doing the crawl loan, they will have the chance to integrate with uh, liquidity protocol, and they can provide the users, their participants, with derivatives. So that's the big advantage after Bifrost being a power chain. So our strategy is to get the power chain as soon as possible. And what we do, different power chains they have different strategy, and some power chains maybe they have no much utility on the power chain for power chain.
Hmm.
They don't need to actually beat a power chain. They can run a actually just only run a substrate blockchain that they can maintain. Maybe they just do storage, and you don't need to have a power chain to run you logical or your business. It's not necessary, but they are building a power chain is for actually I think PR for the market
Mm.
for the confidence of the users. So, uh, but Bifrost strategies actually is different from them. We actually need to deploy our business as soon as possible.
Interesting. Okay. Well, what other kinds of marketing have you been doing? Have you done anything like, what creative marketing plans have you had around like trying to get people aware of Bifrost? Like, what's been most effective? Have you guys done like some AMAs, or have you done online webinars, or like what have you had conferences? Like, what have you done to try and engage the community and get them excited about the launch?
Yeah, we did conferences, but that's also the first conference of Bifrost. The name of that conference is actually, yeah, the Kusama Parachain Bidding Conference of Bifrost, and we actually explained the uh, rules of Bifrost and the bidding strategy and the what is the slot auction liquidity protocol and how
Hmm.
we can provide this service for other power chains. And we did about 10 and more AMAs in a week. So the previous week is a much busy week for all the team. And sorry. And what we are doing now is that we are developing the uh, actually the SLP, and we are finding the way to solve the you know XCMP of Polkadot to transfer the messages from Bifrost power chain to the Kusama relay chain, and that's the big point we are solving now. For the market, we will actually we did cooperation with NFT project, which name is RMRT. I thought. Sorry. Uh, that's a NFT project that can provide you with parachute bounding NFT. If you bound 10 more Kusama for Bifrost, then you can get a small NFT that can evolve in the future, and you can use the NFT on the NFT market, and that's like a surprise for the bounding participants in Bifrost.
Oh, that's
And
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think the NFT rewards those aren't going away. That's definitely something that everybody's pretty excited about using. It's a nice little way to reward
yeah.
participants for sure. Well, so I guess I have one final question that we ask all of the people that we have on the show.
Hmm.
And so you got to think really hard about this and give us an answer here. So I want you to rank, or I want you to rate how chaotic has this process been, 1 to 10. 10 being very chaotic, 1 being very simple, no problems. How chaotic has this process been? Because Kusama, as you know, the slogan is expect chaos, right? So 1 to 10, how would you rate how chaotic this whole thing has been for you guys as a team?
I think it's four.
4. Wow, that's very positive.
Yeah,
So
that's
things have
four.
been pretty smooth for you guys. Sounds like.
Yeah, that's four. We've been accumulate much long time for the bidding, and we actually promote the party and asking many questions about when you will open the bid, when we can deploy the Genesis block, and when we can uh, applicate the Parachain ID. And what we are doing is that we do this promotion each day, and I think that everything goes smooth in Bifrost, and uh, the deployment of the XCMP is also what we are promoting now. So actually, we are closely following the development procedure of parity. I think that question is also the ask the parity team what they are doing, and what's the quality of the parity.
I think everybody wants to know what they're thinking at all times. Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking up until they announced that they were going to start the auctions, when they were going to do it, how they were going to do it. So yeah, we definitely feel your pain on that one. But well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Brian. That's my pleasure to be here.
Thanks again to our guest Tyrone Pan. It was great learning more about Bifrost, which will be vying for a slot on both Polkadot and Kusama. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review us on your favorite podcast platform, and we will be sure to bring you along as we get a backstage pass to the world of Parachain auctions. Remember, you can always learn more about all things crypto by going to kraken.com/learn. Until next time, I'm Brian Hoffman, and this has been the Parachain Auctions Podcast. This content is not financial or investment advice. All interviews and discussions are opinions only. Kraken does not endorse the accuracy of this content. None of the following information should be construed as a recommendation to support any specific Parachain project or to participate in Parachain auctions in general. See our terms of service for more information.